What is up, guys? We are back. Brandon Deutsch here with the most knowledgeable person I know about the scouting business, about the NFL draft, and Lucas Sweeney, former Minnesota Twins minor leaguer, by the way. If you didn't know, if you couldn't guess how talented he was just by his NFL takes, like he also played professional baseball. And we are here to do a 2-round mock. Lucas, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited. I mean, post combine now, so my big board's shaking out finally, and I think we're kind of starting to get a feel for a lot of these teams and the players that they're interested in, and kind of their needs as well as we're starting to get some news with the franchise tags and everything. So it's a good time of the year.
I know Kyler getting released. The midget himself. Well, I can't say that. My bad. The 5'8" man himself getting released.
Indeed.
Minnesota Viking, huh? Better than McCarthy. It's an upgrade.
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to go to the Vikings, but
He's
anyway,
gonna go to the
I do
Dolphins.
think they're obviously going to bring in somebody, but I don't
I
think
hope it's
Kyler
Mac
Murray
Jones.
would
I
fit
hope they
very
send
well.
us a second-round pick. But without further ado,
Yeah.
we'll get started. So you'll have the twos, right? I'll have the ones.
Yeah, I'll go even.
Cool. So we'll start with, I mean, this one's pretty obvious. And again, this one's going to be how we think the draft will go, not what should happen, by the way.
Yes.
So this one's obvious. They're going to go Fernando Mendoza. The draft starts at 2, so you're on the clock here, Lucas.
Yep. So I think that it's kind of starting to look more apparent that this pick will be Arvell Reese. He seems to be the edge rusher that's separating himself the most. I think that Ruben Bain, I think they should take Ruben Bain, but I think right now it's kind of between Reese and Bailey because of the whole arm length thing. And I think Arvell Reese fits the scheme a little better. I think David Bailey, he's more of an outside linebacker, like a 3-4 guy. And the Jets, I believe they're going to be running a 4-3. And Arvell Reese, at least he can move back to off-ball linebacker, on the rundowns, on the early downs maybe. So, yeah, I think he just fits a little better. And I think Reese is a great pick at 2.
Yeah, he certainly has a ton of upside. We got Nick Talks Niners there. I have a podcast with him, Maj, and Tyler LaRocca about the Niners. And you would love Tyler LaRocca, by the way. He is a Brock Purdy hater through and through, just like you, Lucas.
I'm just a realist, man. I see it and I say it about the 49ers.
All right, so we'll go to 3 here. And this is probably the toughest pick of the draft. I know you have graded Fano as a interior offensive lineman because of what he measured at, and that's fine. So if that's the case, I think they're gonna go with Mawanoa here. I can't see them taking anybody, but I actually could see them taking Ty Simpson here. I could.
Wow,
I could see it. I mean, you're probably hearing the same things as me. I'm definitely hearing that he's going to go higher than people think. I think his floor, the lowest he'll go is 16th to the Jets. I think he's going in between 3 and 16, right? That's what I'm hearing. So, but I'm going to stray away from that till we hear more buzz about that. I'm still convinced they're going to take a tackle to protect whoever they have at quarterback. And I've heard they're going to sign Malik Willis for $30 million a year. So if that's the case, thank God, because they're still going to finish 4th for years if they sign Malik Willis for $30 million a year. I like Malik Willis, but he's not worth that. And they're the fucking excuse my language. They're the Cardinals. So I'm glad that they're doing that, but they should build the offensive line. So up to you at pick 4.
Yeah. I as well. My projection would be Malik Willis to the Cardinals. So I think surrounding him with offensive line help is a good idea. Here are the Titans at 4. I'm going to try to go about this pick quick here. They've been rumored to be very interested in Jeremiah Love. However, they, hired Robert Saleh. He's a defensive-minded guy. I still believe that typically new coaches make their first pick on their side of the ball. So, and obviously the Titans need a ton of defensive help. I would take Ruben Bain. Again, the arm length, I think that's going to hold him back here. I don't really think David Bailey fits the Robert Saleh scheme that well. And an argument I heard before was Robert Saleh, what he's able to do with an elite, fast linebacker with Fred Warner. Imagine what he could do with Sonny Styles. So wow. I think right now, Sonny Styles is a good fit here for the Titans at pick 4. I don't like the value, the positional value, but he's one of the true blue chippers in this draft. So I can see it.
I like that pick. I mean, I think he's going anywhere from 2 to 7 or 8 rather. So I think the Saints would take him if he fell to 8. Obviously, he'd go to Kansas City if he fell to 9 somehow. Dallas isn't getting him at this point. So this makes the Giants thing a little interesting. I've heard their interest in Jeremiah Love. I mean, it'd be cool. It'd be very cool, the Jeremiah Love thing. I can't see them not taking downs. They're not worried about the degenerative or whatever it's called. What is it? Degenerative? What is it?
Wow, degenerative knee. Yeah, so
Degenerative. My bad.
Corey Kinnon, I believe, reported that he has like a
Yeah,
degenerative knee condition
knee
or
stuff.
something that could, make him fall like Will Johnson last year, kind of
Well, you know
in a
what?
similar fashion.
I actually, even though I love Caleb Downs to the Giants, that's probably the worst field for him to play on if he does have that. So,
Yeah,
with that being the case, I'm gonna go with Love here. I've heard the rumors. I mean, I know they have positional needs elsewhere, but they're really interested in Jeremiah Love from what I've heard from every out source.
yeah, yeah. I've heard that
And
too.
Scadaboo's coming off of a serious injury. He's not going to be the same right away, anyways. And you could
Yeah,
always use Scadaboo as like a goal line guy, and Love as your kind of fast, guy.
yeah. I
So
like it. I like it. Help out Jackson Dart in the offense, in whatever way you can. So, the Browns now here at pick 6. So they just traded for Titus Howard, who I believe is probably they traded for and paid him. So he's now their starting right tackle in all likelihood. They're losing almost all their offensive linemen. I think they're going to be taking the hottest riser here of the combine, and that's going to be Monroe Freeling. Monroe Freeling
wow,
is absolutely flying
wow.
up boards. I think that you're going to see him in this range. I think the Browns are a big fit for him. And, I think the potential's there. He's got long arms, crazy athlete. I think that they can develop him into a very good starting left tackle in the future.
Wow, Monroe Freeling there. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I
I've been
like it.
seeing that. I've been seeing that all over the place. Like he's flying up the board, man. And I think that something like this is going to happen. I think that he's almost a top 10 lock now with his combine. His combine was great for him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Damn. Wow. I could see it too. I wanted the Niners to take him at 27, but he's going nowhere close there. All right. Washington has a plethora of options here. I can't see as much as they have a need at edge. I can't see Downs falling past this pick, even with what came out. He's a blue chipper. I think they're going to go Caleb Downs there. They have a need at DB. It's a good pick. I'm still in on Downs. I mean, even with the stuff, I think you got to take a risk on a Hall of Fame type talent. And I still think
Yeah.
if he stays healthy, he's going to be a Hall of Fame safety. And they need someone who can command that secondary. They could sign an edge rusher. It's not out of question. Like they gave a lot of money to Javon Kinlaw DT last year, which was stupid. The Adam Peters special
Yeah.
made a lot of bad moves. They do need some juice on the edge, but this is a pretty deep edge class. I could see him getting like Malachi Lawrence in round 2, which we'll get to, or Derek Moore, somebody like that. Like they don't need to take Bain or Bailey there, even though those would be fine picks. I think getting a DB that talented there is a good pick. So you're on the board there at 8.
Yeah. So the Saints now, I think they really like the way this board is shaken out because, they could use some help in the pass rush game. And you've obviously got 2 blue chip players there at the top of the board. With David Bailey being a little more of a scheme fit here in the Brandon Staley defense. And then you also definitely have a need at wide receiver, put somebody next to Chris Olave, whether that's Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson, you got your pick there. I think David Bailey's the pick here. Good scheme fit. Again, like I said, for the Saints at just, one of the most valuable positions in football. And he's arguably like top 2, top 3 player in the draft. So the fact that he's fallen here to 8, I think the Saints would love to see this.
I mean, look at that pass rush grade: 93.8, 94.4 true pass set or true pass set pass rush grade. I mean, that's the best in the draft. 22% pass rush win rate is freaking crazy, by the way. That's a great pick. Back to 9 here. I think they're sprinting this pick up to the board. Ruben Bain is so good, man. And Spagnuolo knows what he could do with Ruben Bain alongside Chris Jones and that defense. Great pass rusher. I think what gets overlooked is his run defense. He's an elite run defender. And he's 23.5 pass rush win rate. We know that. I'm not that concerned about the arms, especially in a system like that with Spagnuolo, who's going to get the most out of him. I wouldn't be shocked if we look back in 10 years and be like, how the fuck did they get Ruben Bain? Or excuse my language, how the heck did they get? Because now I'm monetized on YouTube, so I can't be cussing like that. How did they get Ruben Bain at 9? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I like the pick there.
Major steal. I think that's just the whole, good teams draft good players thing where, the Chiefs and the Eagles all the time. It's those two teams where they're just, and the Ravens too. The Ravens kind of fall in that bucket a lot too, where they're just scooping up the guys that are falling for some reason. So that brings up the Bengals at 10. And obviously the Bengals, I mean, they have just such a massive, they have needs all over that defense, so they got to take kind of whatever defensive player is going to be the biggest contributor right now. I think they could use an edge rusher. They have Miles Murphy coming off of a good season. They invested heavily into Shamar Stewart last year. Trey Hendrickson leaving, obviously. They need help on the interior D-line, so I think Caleb Banks is easily in the cards here. They need help in the secondary, so it's kind of just like, who's the BPA on your board here on the defensive side? And, the highest ceiling might be Jermod McCoy, but I think they need floor on defense. I made this argument a while ago. I think a couple mock drafts ago that we did. And I think Mansour Delane's got to be the pick here, where you need a corner who can just contribute, guaranteed. You don't want to take somebody who's at risk with the injury history that Jermod McCoy has coming off of the ACL. So I think this would be a great pick for the Bengals.
Yeah, and the way this board is shaping up. I mean, look at the Dolphins, plethora of options for new coach Jeff Hafley, right? Like they got Jermod McCoy here, you got Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon. I think the best fit. I think they got to go upside here. I think this is where McCoy goes. The Dolphins just have such a need at so many places defensively that they just got to take best player available with the highest upside and just hope he stays healthy and looks the same. Like, I think that's kind of the direction they're going. And, Hafley knows, like, he didn't have corners in Green Bay that were any good. So I think he's going to want one and see Jermod McCoy and know that he can do a lot with Chop Robinson, obviously other guys on that D line, and then have a corner that can be locked down like McCoy. So.
Yeah, and I think that you hate to see the board go this way if you're Dallas, where those two corners just went off the board right in front of you, because that and edge are probably your biggest needs on defense right now, aside from maybe linebacker. But the thing is, like, Styles is gone too. I think the board just really did not go the way they wanted it to go at this point with none of the receivers coming off the board. So that kind of makes this pick pretty tough. I mean, you're looking for, they run a 3-4, it looks like. Hold on. Yeah, okay. So, right. They brought in Christian Parker from the Eagles. So they're moving from a 4-3 to a 3-4. So they're going to need one of those smaller edge rushers. Can you scroll down a little bit on the edges and see what consensus has right now? I'm thinking, TJ Parker. Cassius Howell would definitely be in the cards here. It's the whole arm length argument, though. Like, I don't think you're taking Falk or Messidor. Parker is, in the running. Can you bring? I think Dylan Thieneman is easily in the cards too here. Honestly, I think we're going to go with Thieneman because they do need a safety as well. I think that they just kind of go pretty much defensive BPA too here. So,
by the way, the Vikings just follow their knees in this scenario. By the way, Messidor Cowboys, I could see it, but he's old, man. I mean, Cowboys are kind of a contending team, but they desperately need to get younger players too.
Messidor's just kind of, he's a little big to play the 3-4 outside linebacker pass rusher. Like, I could see it, he could fit in there, but he's not kind of the prototype.
Howell makes more sense if you're going edge there, because
small. If you look at the Eagles defense, like their types of pass rushers, Nolan Smith, Jalen Phillips, those guys that are more of like the 250s, like sub 250 range. Messidor, I think he weighed in at maybe like 257 at the combine, but he was listed at like 280 this last year because he was coming from playing defensive tackle historically. So that would be another like shift down positionally. So I think Messidor is going to be in more of a 4-3 scheme, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. This is not the way that the Rams wanted this board to play out, but I think this pick becomes obvious with Mawanoa off the board and Freelanders. I think this is where the slide stops for Makai Lemon. I think they go with the hometown guy. And I would hate this pick as a Niners fan because he's so freaking good. He's the best
Yeah.
receiver in the draft, but they prepare for the future. You know, once Devontae is off contract after next season, he's not going to be a Ram. So then you have a Puka Nacua, Makai Lemon wide receiver core, which is not fun for opposing teams. So yeah, I mean, not the way that the Rams wanted the board to fall. I'm sure they would have wanted Mansour Delane or Jermon McCoy, but that's kind of how it went.
Yeah, I would hate that pick for fantasy football too, for Lemon, because it's just going to be a
Well,
lot
you'd
of
rather
mouths to
him go
feed
to the
there.
fucking Browns?
No, I mean, I don't know. It's just so many mouths to feed, like it's hard for him to
Yeah.
get the targets and even the routes that he deserves. But anyway, the Ravens now, obviously they've been searching for that help at wide receiver to help Zay Flowers out. So I think Tate and Tyson would be good fits here. But I think they're going to be losing Tyler Linderbaum, honestly. And I think Spencer Fano would be a perfect fit to just slide in as the new starting center for the Ravens. I'd go Fano here.
Wow. I would have picked Banks. I think they've been linked to Banks
I think
for a
Banks is a good
while.
fit there too, for sure. Really, I mean, they could use help on all over the defense. I mean, pass rush, they need some help too on the outside. So,
That's true.
um,
That's true. This
but
is
yeah,
where it gets
Fano, like
interesting.
I have Fano as like a potential Pro Bowl interior offensive lineman. I think he would be a phenomenal fit for the
I still
Ravens.
think he can play tackle. I'm not with you with the interior. I mean, he would be all pro interior offensive line, but I still think he can play tackle. But he does fall into the Will Campbell type of like shorter arms where he could be such a dominant guard. And I think that's inevitably what the Patriots should do with Will Campbell is move him to
Yeah,
guard.
they
But
had him. They had him snapping the ball at the combine. They had him doing center drills. So that's another reason why it seems like the NFL's looking at him as a center. So
well, then he's going to
like
drop.
Graham
There's no
Barton,
way
kind
he's
of.
going third. And like I had him in my mock recently.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go all the way that high
Swapped out
anymore.
Maunoa or something. Tampa here is interesting. I just can't see a scenario where they don't go offense because they just hate playing defense. They hate drafting defense. They hate playing defense. They're gonna get Baker another weapon. I think this is where we see Kenyon Sadiq go. They have a need there. Kate Otten's a free agent. To me, it makes so much sense. I think CJ Allen would have been a better pick there just because they need like kind of a leader of their defense. They had desperate need at linebacker with David being a free agent, right? Like, I don't know. Allen is one of those guys, like he's not like the most physical guy or that. He literally called his own freaking plays at Georgia, though. So he's gonna become like a top 15 linebacker minimum in the league. Like he's so smart. Like those guys just don't fail. And Georgia guys have had a great track record of I know what you guys think I'm going to say like DUIs and car crashes. No, they have a good track record of linebackers and edge rushers, but I still don't know what's going on in Athens. Very nice city, by the way. Very like rich, wealthy area too. So like it's weird that they have all these like DUIs and car crashes there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. It's a crazy program trend. But anyway, that brings up the Jets here. They took Arvell Reese earlier. I think that they're going to stop the slide for Carnell Tate right here. Add in another Ohio State receiver to that room for whoever's playing quarterback. Carnell Tate, I would take Jordan Tyson over Carnell Tate, but the injury history, MetLife, not a great combo. I think
He's in a
consensus
fall. He's in a fall.
kind of has Carnell Tate a little ahead of Jordan Tyson right now because of that. So,
Yeah, Tyson's talent wise probably the best there is in the draft, but like the injury concerns are definitely valid. All right, here I think is an interesting place for the Lions. I think they desperately need takeaways. Like Caleb Banks is a sexy pick here. Mesidor is sexy as well to pair alongside Hutchinson, but I like the Terrell pick here. He's such a pro, tough player, forces takeaways, defense that kind of is predicated on forcing takeaways. So I mean, I don't know. I think Shepard would love Terrell there at 17. I think that'd be an A plus pick too.
yeah. So now that brings up the Vikings here at 18, and they cut Javon Hargrave, I believe, on the interior. Jonathan Grenard is being rumored as a guy who the Vikings might be willing to trade. So it kind of looks like they're losing pieces. They still have Dallas Turner. They have Andrew Van Ginkel. I think that up front, you're going to be looking at something. You're obviously going to be looking at something at safety. I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren could probably be in contention for this pick too. I think if he had a little better showing at the combine, I think that he would kind of be a shoe in here. But I think Caleb Banks I think the slide stops for Caleb Banks here. I think you just add him up front. And, that's a phenomenal substitution for Javon Hargrave, who's kind of aging out of the league now. You got Jonathan Allen, who's older. Jalen Redmond has been phenomenal, but just add more big bodies up front there. Caleb Banks will give you some pass rush on the interior. I think this would be great for Brian Flores.
I think it's a great pick. And here, I don't think Carolina needs a wide receiver. I disagree with PFF. Jalen Coker is a great wide receiver 2. You have Legetta as your wide receiver 3, and obviously you have an alpha wide receiver 1 in McMillan. So this pick's obvious, in my opinion. I'm going to get Allen here. They need a leader defensively at linebacker. Their DBs were nasty last year. I like the defensive scheme they're playing. If they add him, that could be borderline top 10 defense in the league. I think they're moving toward that. Their identity is becoming very clear, and they're a good football team. So I think
Yeah,
Allen
they
would
just
be a
need to
great addition.
add. I think they just need to add like a game record pass rusher, and then they'll be getting close to that because like they got some solid contribution, but they just don't have a one.
I mean, I
So
could see Messidor there too. There's no doubt about that. I could see Cassius
yeah,
Howell, like who's primarily just a pass rusher. But again, like I mentioned, it's so deep at edge rusher in this class that they can get a solid pass rusher like Moore or Lawrence or somebody like that in round 2. Yakis, you know what I mean?
yep.
Like there's Mason Thomas, right? Like there's so many that I think like taking Allen there just makes a lot of sense.
Yep. So the Cowboys got Dylan Thieneman with their last pick, and they were considering Cassius Howell at 12, and he's there at 20 for him. So I think Cassius Howell's your guy right there at pick 20.
Yeah, I think he had an impressive combine. He obviously measured in pretty slim. Or not pretty slim, like his arm length was pretty small,
Yeah,
but
short
like
arms, not super fast, but explosive, like really good jumps. So I think that the
he's
NFL is
he's
going to
going to be a
like
10
that.
sack a year guy. Like I like Howell enough there.
Kind of Dallas Turnery, I would say, but obviously shorter arms, doesn't have the
Yeah.
length that Dallas Turner has, but a similar player type.
100%. Okay, so here I thought the floor for Simpson would be 16. I think this is Ty Simpson here. I like
Yeah, I
Simpson
would
so
I would
much,
say
man.
and the fall here too. I think that's a
I,
good
I like
idea.
I like him so much. His intermediate grade of 92 plus is great. I mean, the tape. Dan Orlovsky got cooked, but he did have better tape than Fernando Mendoza for most of the year. And then he got hurt. His offensive line didn't play well. Like the running back Jam Miller, they couldn't really. Ryan Grubb's notorious for not using running backs the correct way. Like even though he's great at scheming up pass plays and play action, but like I don't know. I love Ty Simpson, man. I think he's almost like if someone wants to say Fernando Mendoza is easily the best quarterback in this draft as a prospect, like I put Simpson right up there with him. Like as a pro prospect, he just needs more time. Mendoza's more NFL ready.
Yeah, I think Simpson is going to develop into a good quarterback, like you said. I think that it's a lot about the time that he's going to get to develop and the reps. So I think this would be a great opportunity for him. Mike McCarthy kind of has been a little bit of a QB whisperer in his career.
Oh, he has.
Underrated. Yeah,
Yeah.
underrated in that aspect. So I think that he would be a perfect coach for Ty Simpson to come in, develop behind Aaron Rodgers, similar to Jordan Love, where he came in and developed a few years behind Rodgers. I don't think Ty Simpson would have a few years in this case
It would
anymore
be one,
with
but yeah.
with Rodgers being 42. But yeah, I think you just build up the rest of the environment as well and, ultimately plug Simpson in next year.
Look at this
Hopefully the
board, by the way,
offense.
for the Chargers here. They would like be jumping in the frickin' war room with Jordan Tyson on the board here, which
Dude,
they probably aren't considering a wide receiver. But if Jordan
I
Tyson
know.
falls to
I know.
22, I
That's
mean,
what I'm
Jesus
thinking, man.
Christ.
That would be an insane addition for Herbert. Can you bring up the O line, like tackle and guard for me, or
Yeah,
tackle and
because
interior O line?
Ione
Because
makes a lot of sense too, right?
this is such a big need for them, is the thing. But can you bring up tackle as well? Okay.
I like him a lot too. This
Yeah,
guy.
but they need an interior O lineman's the thing, and I think Ionicher is a tackle for sure.
This
I
guy's
don't
so
think they
good,
would
by the way.
reach. Yeah, I think he's a good day two prospect. I don't think that they're gonna reach. I don't think Ioane is a very good fit. He's more of a gap guy. Like he is his own. He can block his own too. I'm not ruling out Ioane here, but I think Jennings Dunker in the second round might be a little better value and scheme for the Chargers, considering how heavy of a zone
Ooh.
guy he is, with Mike McDaniel being a major, like,
I could see
wide
Lee
zone
Hunter here too, by the way.
guy. Yeah, I think that D tackle interior is their probably biggest need on defense. Honestly, they need pass rush on the interior more so than a big old run stopper like Caden McDonald or Lee Hunter. So give me Peter Woods here. I think Peter Woods is a good take here.
He's
He came
so
in
he's kind of small though, but yeah.
he came in very undersized, unfortunately, and it was disappointing because he didn't run or test anything. So we thought, maybe he cut weight to test better, but he just cut weight for no reason. So that's not a
Yeah,
great
just
look.
he,
But
he cut weight because he's just not that good.
I think that he's got great potential. I mean, amazing film, amazing numbers from 2 years ago, and he's a good athlete. So hopefully they
He
can
is a
just get
good
him back
athlete.
to
I'll
where he
give you
was.
that. I'll give you that. I'll give you the athlete stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, so here, I mean, fuck, man. I would hate Jordan Tyson going to the Eagles. They just always get one of those guys who
dude,
fall.
they're gonna
They
trade AJ
always do
Brown
it.
too.
They
Like they're
always
gonna
do it.
trade AJ Brown, right?
For sure. They're for sure trade AJ
So
Brown. So Tyson is the obvious pick. God, I would hate that
yeah,
so much. Poor guy
yeah,
has to play with Hurts too. It sucks.
yeah. Okay, so the Browns took Monroe Freeling with their first pick here. Messidor's been falling. Keldrick Falk is there. I think that they could use somebody opposite for Miles Garrett. I think let's go with Messidor here. Let's just throw
Wow.
Messidor in and just add another demon pass rusher to this
I
defense.
like
Like,
it. I like it. I like that pick. Freeling and Messidor is a good draft for the Browns. Andrew Berry would be saving his job with that. All right, this gets interesting because this pick might be traded for Max Crosby. There's just so much line movement there with the minus 200 Crosby to the Bears type of stuff that Vegas knows something about Crosby being moved and they think it's
right?
to the Bears. I don't put too much stock in it quite yet, but I mean, I don't know, dude. I am gonna go here.
Oh,
Well,
they
lost
you
Dahlman.
just saw their center retired too, right? But I don't know that
Yeah.
any of these guys are centers. Is
Well,
the
they're gonna take
problem?
a center in the draft. I mean, you just
Yeah,
like it's way
probably
round one. You
round
can't
two.
draft Pat Coogan or
Yeah,
I mean, if Fano was here, that'd be great, but he's not. Obviously, that would be a good
right.
pick. D line, linebacker, safety. I like Emmanuel McNeil Warren here. I really do actually. I like
Yeah, I
Emmanuel
think
McNeil
I think
Warren.
both their starting safeties are free agents.
They
So
are.
Byard and
They
Brisker.
are.
So
Whatever his name is, Brisket. He was
yeah,
incredible
Byard
last
and
year.
Brisker. Yeah.
Yeah, and Byard. I mean, Byard had a career resurgence last year. He was downright. He was a Pro Bowler. Was he All Pro last season? Kevin Byard.
He had a very good year. I know.
He had
I'm
like
not sure.
6 interceptions or some shit. Like it was out of control. I love Ben Johnson so much, man. By the way, speaking of the Bears, like I'm gonna pick them or the Rams are going to the Super Bowl next year. I want to say it's the Niners, but we have so many holes, bro. Like Kyle Shanahan's coaching made things look way smoother than they actually were. Like I'm still probably gonna go Bears, Lions, or Rams to come out of the NFC. I don't think the Seahawks have any chance without Kubiak, by the way, but that's a separate conversation.
Yeah. So
You're just like,
I think
yeah, I
I'm.
can't agree with
I,
that. I like the Seahawks.
yeah, I mean that defense is insane. Like that defense is always gonna get the upper hand
Oh
on
yeah,
Brock Purdy. Like you need a quarterback who can
we
stand
need
in there
Drew Aller.
a
We
little
need Drew
more.
Aller to back
Yeah.
up Brock for a year and then take over.
Um. So the Bills, I kind of think that I'm just gonna stick with what I've been picking for the Bills, and I think that's Omar Cooper.
That's a great
I
pick.
think I would like Denzel Boston here, but I don't think Brandon Bean wants to go with the stereotypical X receiver again after, getting burnt by Keon Coleman. So I think he's going to go with more like the dynamic Z type of receiver that Omar Cooper Jr.
Niners
is.
just
And he
fell
had
to their
a great
knees,
combine.
by the way,
Yeah, I
with that
would
pick.
be very happy about that.
Yeah, but now
Yeah,
you're
he'd be a
screwed.
great help for Josh Allen. I would love Omar Cooper Jr.
But
together with
since you're
Josh
a
Allen.
Niners hater, Lucas, this would also be a lose-lose situation because Boston's still on the board and Boston's
Yeah.
freaking incredible. That's who the
Yeah,
Niners
that's a
take
good
in
pick.
this specific mock. He's so good, dude. Like I'm getting like mad about the disrespect I'm hearing about Boston. Like he's a far better receiver than Casey Concepcion. I think he's just as good or close as Carnell Tate.
It's
In my
just kind of
evaluation.
disappointing that he didn't test, man. Like, I'm worried that that means that he's like a mid 4.6 guy, that he's like Keon
I think he's
Coleman type
faster
of
than that.
speed.
But he
I
catches
I hope
everything,
he
and, like, the
is.
production in college was elite. Like, Tate's probably faster, and he had a better contested catch rate, but I think Boston can beat man coverage a little better than Carnell Tate. I think his separation metrics were a little better, so that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think there's that much of a discrepancy from, like, Denzel Boston to Carnell Tate, which is why I'm
Yeah, I don't
ecstatic the Niners make that pick there.
I don't think there's a huge discrepancy either. So I'm
Yeah,
not
for me,
I'm
it's
not
like
out on that.
Lemon Tyson, then there's a huge gap, pretty much, and then it's Boston Tate, Cooper, right there.
Yeah, this pick is a sprint to the podium. It's Vega Ioane here for the Texans.
Yeah,
I mean, they desperately are
they
in
need
need
a
of
they need
help
a
for
guard
Stroud.
like we need air to breathe.
And Nick Caley, he's a gap guy. Like this is Josh McDaniel's tree, like a lot of power, a lot of counter. So Ioane is going to be a mauler in that. So David Montgomery behind Ioane and hopefully another couple additions to that O-line, and the Texans might finally have a run game. So
I like it. I mess with it heavy. I like that pick. Okay, here's where I might get a little frisky here. I'm determined. Let's see. They need a corner so bad though, dude. I think Brandon Sissy, this is a good place for him here. He's so physical. I like that pick. I'm gonna just go corner there. I know I was thinking Drew Aller, but with Simpson off the board,
yeah,
that's a little high for Aller, even though I'm probably Drew Aller's biggest supporter on planet Earth. I can see it at 29, which is why I mocked him there. I think that's the ceiling for Aller. But if they don't get a corner at 13, I think it makes it substantially more difficult for them to draft a quarterback and go no corner until round 2. You know what I mean? Like if they
yeah,
don't get one of those two. So in this
agreed.
scenario, I'm going to go Sissy, who I really like. I think his tape is
By
great.
the way, his name's Cisse, not
Whatever. I
not
call him.
Sissy.
I know
I'm
I've been
just
mispronouncing his
I'm just
name.
saying because that's kind of a like I wouldn't like to have my name pronounced like that, so I'm just making sure that
I
you
apologize,
know.
Cisse. I apologize, Cisse. I was calling you a
Yeah,
sissy. I'm sorry. But I do love his tape. There are some guys that
yeah,
I don't know how to pronounce their last name, but I fucking love their tape. Like last year it
yeah,
was Ursery for a while. I didn't know how to pronounce it. There was somebody else. Whatever his name is, Max from Arizona State. I don't know how to pronounce his
yeah.
name.
Max Ionicher,
Ionicher, dude. His tape is
Ionicher.
nasty.
Yeah,
That guy's a baller. That guy's gonna be a franchise tackle. I love that guy. But yeah, I didn't know how to pronounce his last name. Anyways, Broncos here for you on the clock at 30. What do we like?
yeah. So the rumors here for the Broncos are that they're pretty content with their wide receiver room. They want to kind of move forward with Sutton, Franklin, Pat Bryant, and then like Marvin Mims. So offensively, they're kind of looking for like Joker-esque type of player again, still running back, tight end. And with Sadiq gone, there's probably not that player on the board here at 30. So they're probably looking there at 62. So I don't think that this is going to be a pick on the offensive side of the ball. You maybe could use an interior defensive lineman with John Franklin Myers getting older. You could use edge depth probably. I don't know that they would be going with a DB. I mean, Jade Barron's still developing. So I think load me up just D line and edge here. I mean, this is a 3-4 defense. I mean, I don't think it's going to be Zion Young or TJ Parker, but these guys should not be available at this pick. They're better than that. Honestly, like Keldrick Falk might be really good for the Broncos as a 3-4 D end where he just kind of plays interior, plays 3 tech, and he's been
He's young.
falling. So,
He's
yeah, he's
young
a
too.
very good developmental player. This is a good pick for them.
Yeah, I like that pick for them. I'm with you there. 31 here. I mean, they're running to the podium. I like Lomu there, but they want to keep Campbell at tackle. So I think this is where Proctor goes because he's going
Okay.
to play guard. So, like, Lomu is a straight tackle. Like, you can play him at guard. He's versatile enough, but he's a tackle, right? Like, if they want Will Campbell, if they're convinced he's their left tackle, they're going to get a guard. I like Proctor as a
This is
guard on
good
that
too,
offense.
scheme wise, for him to play guard because they're gap, Josh McDaniels. This is a gap offense. Caden Proctor would not survive in an outside zone offense.
Yeah,
So
he'd be a
this
bad
would be a
pick for the
good
Niners.
scheme fit. Yeah. Um, so that'll bring up the Seahawks here at 32.
Too
And
many ballers on the board for the Seahawks for my
there are
liking
a
here.
lot of
I would
ballers.
be pissed.
I think it's kind of like it's going to be an edge, I believe. So it's, either Parker or Zion Young. It's just like, who do you prefer there? Pretty similar players. Oh man, like we're gonna go Parker just because of the whole rumored DUI for Zion Young that
Dude,
could
I do not
potentially
care about
cause him
that
to fall.
DUI. I don't care about that
Yeah,
DUI. I want him. I want him on the Niners. They were already interested in a player with a DUI. His name's Jordan Addison, USC legend. So like Zion Young, as long as he learned, all you got to tell me, Zion Young, come into the room. Did you learn from your DUI? Will you do it again? No. All right, we're taking you. Sorry,
right.
that's all the background work needed for a guy that talented. Alden Smith literally was out of control, and I would, if I knew how Alden Smith's career was going to go, I would still draft him again where they drafted him. He
Yeah,
was that good for 2 years.
he was so good, man. Unreal.
Also, by the way, both Missouri guys with DUIs, Alden Smith, Zion Young. Didn't Alden Smith go to Missouri? Am I tripping? He went to Mizzou.
I don't know. I don't remember. Can't recall.
All right, back to the Jets here. All right, I'll go. So this is oh wow, 2 Ohio State guys. Do they go
Yes,
third?
sir.
They go 3 for 3 with McDonald here. That'd be sick. They do need a D lineman. McDonald is strictly a run stopper though. They
Yeah, they
got
just added
Devondre
Tavondre
Sweat
Sweat for
too.
that role. Yeah.
I think they're going to go corner here. I don't love the corners that are available, but it seems like Colton Hood's been getting a lot of buzz. I love Chris Johnson. I would love this pick, actually. I'm going to go Chris Johnson. I like Chris
Okay.
Johnson, dude. I think he's a first round corner. My evaluation. I could be wrong, but I think I'm pretty good at evaluating corners. Not as good as you, but like I like Chris Johnson a lot.
Yeah, he's going to be kind of like an off zone corner. Not super big, not super fast, but I think that he's a good player with good tape, So, and the Jets
I
are
think he
desperately in
fit
need of a
alongside
corner. So,
Azarie too. I think he's a good
yeah,
complement to Azarie, who I
yeah.
still like. I like Azarie Thomas.
All right. Cardinals here at 34 now. They took Francis Mauigoa in round 1 at pick 3. I think we're kind of operating as if Malik Willis is their quarterback, right?
Yep.
They probably are bringing in a bridge guy. So with, Mike LaFleur paying him a lot of money too. So it's kind of like, you're our guy, we're not probably going to waste a draft pick here, bringing in a developmental quarterback behind you. So they got, Mauigoa earlier. I don't think they need a lot of help on the offense, to be honest, other than maybe a running back, but still, like, I like Trey Benson. So I think this pick is probably on the defense, and they have a lot of exciting pieces. I think that, you could be looking edge here. I like their corners. I think, yeah, you're probably not really looking at a safety either. I think it's pretty much just edge.
I'll
Uh,
pull up the edges here for you.
and they're more of a 3-4. I mean, Zion Young could fit in there. Derek Moore, Malachi Lawrence, even R. Mason Thomas, but I don't know, man. I don't think they're gonna go with him. Let's take let's go with Derek Moore here.
I like that pick. You know my thoughts on Derek Moore. I wanted the Niners to take him round two. So Tennessee here, this is their second pick. They took Styles in round one. This kind of plays to their advantage here. They obviously have a need at ed. Well, they got Johnson, but they still have a need at edge. But their need at wide receiver is so apparent. I think Concepcion, this is where he stops. I like the pick there. I think he'd
That'd be a
kind of
pretty
be
good fit.
perfect. Yeah, he'd be perfect
Yeah.
for Cam Ward, a little yak guy. He plays. They already have a guy who can play X receiver in Ayu Manor, so he kind of plays off of him. DK is another kind of scheme fit for Ward. I like him too. I kind of
Yeah,
like the Titans next year.
I think this pick could kind of relegate Chimere Dike to what he really is.
On
He's just a
returner.
gadget guy and a returner
Yeah.
where, you don't have to force him to try to be a wide receiver, which he's not really a wide receiver. So I think that would be kind of perfect where you could just have Concepcion, Io Manor, and then if you still have Ridley or if you just sign a Z in free agency.
Yeah.
So I think that this would be a pretty good fit. That puts the Raiders on the clock. Obviously, they took Mendoza. This team, they need to add on the offensive line. They need to add defensively, probably on the interior a little bit. If they trade Max Crosby, they need to add edge rush help. There's just needs all over the place, man. So I think you pretty much are just going BPA here. My BPA is Zion Young.
All
Like,
right. We'll go
I think
Zion
it's
Young. I
Zion
like
Young.
it. I like Zion Young. I love Zion Young. There's Mosh Sports, my guy. What up, dude? Um, all right. So the Giants here, they took Jeremiah Love in round one. That means they have a need at, DB, tackle, guard. I think this works out perfectly. You got Caleb Lomu still on the board. That's an A+ draft for them so far. I don't expect Lomu to be there in round two, but kind of how the board's playing out in this, like he's there. So
Yeah. So the Texans got Ioane, I believe. They get
yes,
Ioane with their
yes.
first
Let me
pick.
pull. Let me pull it up. Yeah, they have Ioane there.
They could use probably more help on the interior line. They could also use help on the interior D line. Sheldon Rankins and Tim Settle, both free agents. They probably bring one of those guys back. Tommy Togiai was good last year, but I think you kind of just want to add guys into that rotation on the interior D line, and you have guys falling right now: Hunter, Miller, and McDonald. Miller's my favorite of the three, but I think that Lee Hunter is kind of consensus top of those three right now. So with this being predictive, the way we think it's going to go, I'm going to go with Lee Hunter here.
Cool. I like it. And obviously the Browns are now on the clock and they had a pretty good first round. Monroe Freeling, top 6. I mean, he's obviously going to rise the most after that combine. Akeem Mesidor, really good player there off the edge. They need a wide receiver now and a quarterback. So I'm going to go wide receiver here. Let's see which ones are available for them. I think consensus, like Bell's injured, so I don't love the consensus there. Surratt's too good for them to draft. It sounds like I'm dissing the Browns. I'm not, but
That's
like he's
hilarious.
just kind of too good for a lot of teams in the sense where he doesn't do anything flashy, but he's just a good receiver.
He's kind of
I think
like the
that
Elikayo manner of last year or of
yeah,
this year.
I think they're gonna go flashy here with Chris Brazel. That kind of seems like
This would be a Browns pick. I'll say that much.
but I plead the fifth with a response to that. But Brazel is just he's kind of like Deontay Thornton, but like a little better. I don't know. Some people love him. I think there's obviously front offices that are high on him and have a first round grade on him. I mean, I think he's gonna go at the top of round 2. I think where we took him. So yeah.
Yeah. Feed me Maxi Onature here to the Chiefs. They're going to need a tackle pretty
Ooh.
bad.
That is a good
With
first 2 picks for the Chiefs,
yeah,
by the way. Bain
they
and
they
yeah.
cut Jawan Taylor. Josh Simmons was good last year. You got to add to that O line, I think, and a tackle is a need. Onature, good fit, I think, for the Chiefs.
I like it there. And obviously we drafted a corner with the Bengals last time. And there's a few D linemen here. They have a need at D line. I'm gonna go Kristen Miller here to the Bengals at 41.
Nice. I like that for them.
Yeah.
So the Saints, I think I took an edge with the last pick, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
David
David
Bailey.
Bailey. Okay. So you would like to give some help to Chris Olave, I think. Devon Vela is pretty much your wide receiver 2 right now. I think you're pretty desperate there, like to add receiver help. I think Jeremy Bernard would be a good fit there. I'm not going to officially go with him yet, but I think he's probably my best fit. Skylar Bell, I really like. He's moved up. Let's see. Can you continue down a little bit? Its branch isn't going to go this high, I don't think. Just a little bit more. Yeah, no. I mean, Ted Hurst might get up this high. Bryce Lance might get up this high, but I don't think right now. Yeah, no, we're good. You can go back.
What about Jeff
I'm
Caldwell?
Jeff Caldwell. He'll be probably like a 4th-round pick, I would guess. He's great. I like him. The idea of him is exciting. But yeah, we're gonna go Jeremy Bernard here for the Saints.
I like it. That's a good pick.
Yeah,
he's great with the
good
ball in his
Z
hand.
slot receiver next to
Yak guy,
Olave.
too.
Like that's good. Yeah.
All right, so the Dolphins corner in round 1. I think Emmanuel Pregnon is a good pick here. I know you have a need at wide receiver. They have a need everywhere. It's a rebuilding year. I'm going to go Pregnon there.
Okay, back to the Jets. The Jets have done some work here. Arvell Reese, Carnell Tate, Chris Johnson. Let's kind of gather ourselves. John Simpson and Elijah Vera Tucker are free agents here, both of their guards. I don't think they're going to bring both of them back, so they're probably considering a guard here. Okay, they got their edge. I think D tackle. No. I think linebackers in consideration here too. So yeah, give me linebacker, interior O line. Yeah, D line. You can take D line off actually. Bring up the tackles too, please, because some of the tackles are interior O linemen actually. I'm close here. I think I'm between Jennings Dunker and Jacob Rodriguez here with this pick for the Jets. Frank Reich is their offensive coordinator now, right?
Yeah, he's their OC.
Give me Jacob Rodriguez.
It's a good pick.
Give me your like true Mike linebacker, while Arvell Reese is going to be more like the weapon that, plays on ball a lot with a little bit of off ball here and there. But yeah, Jacob Rodriguez, he'll be your Mike linebacker. He had a great combine, very good athlete, and not, maybe a tiny bit undersized, but he was just amazing in college. So
I like that pick. And here with Fano round 1, Cade McDonald's still here. And I think, Jesse Minter is going to want a guy like that. Cade McDonald, easy pick. So now you're on the clock with Tampa.
That's great. All right, Tampa. Brandon, got a question. Do you think Mike Evans is going to be on a different team next year?
He's unfortunately going to be a Niner. I hate to say it. It's kind of leaning toward that. I'd hope he goes to the Bills or something, but I don't think he's back in Tampa.
Yeah, okay. So they got Sadiq, so, maybe they scratch that need for a weapon with their first pick where they probably need to add defensive help. But I think that they'd be in consideration for a big X receiver, Elijah Surratt, Malachi Fields, next to Igbuka and Godwin and McMillan, because none of them really provide much size. But I don't think that's what they're going to take here, but still leave it queued up for me. I don't think it would be an offensive pick. Other than that, give me edge as well. I mean, Hassan Reddick's a free agent. Yaya Diaby needs help. I think R. Mason Thomas, pretty easy. Let's just take R. Mason Thomas right here. I think falling to 50 or 46, I think that he'd be a great contributor in their pass rush.
I think this one's pretty easy too. Anthony Hill for the Colts. They have a need at linebacker. So
okay, Colts. All right, so another team making their first pick of the draft here. It's the Falcons. And the Falcons, who's going to be their quarterback? Don't really know right now. It's going to probably be, they're going to add somebody in free agency to battle with Penix, right? So you got a major need at wide receiver. I mean, maybe Mooney's your wide receiver too. So bring up receiver for me, please. O-line's probably not there. You got to replace James Pierce probably too. So bring up edge. I think it's one of these two positions. I mean, Lawrence, man. Lawrence. I think let's go Malachi Lawrence here.
I like
he had
that
an
pick.
Amazing combine, man. He had such a great combine for his draft stock.
I like that pick. And here, I think it's going to be a safety, and I love Kamari Ramsey here for
Okay,
them.
before Halsey, huh?
Yeah, I like him more than Halsey. I'm a little biased, but
Right. All right, the Lions are on the clock. They took Avion Terrell with their first pick. Okay. Um, they need help on the interior O line, I believe. They never really fully replaced Frank Ragnow. They're banged up, obviously. They're going to need an RB2, but they're not going to be taking one this high. They're probably just going to be signing a free agent running back with all the guys that are available. DJ Reader's a free agent. They need help next to Aiden Hutchinson on the edge. So bring up edge, please, as well.
I got
Yeah, I
you.
think it's pretty much between these positions here. Can you scroll down a little bit on the edges? Okay, so Dennis Sutton, major, like he was insane at the combine. Great combine, measured in huge. I think he's my guy here. I think they're going to go with Danny Dennis Sutton here.
I like it. And with the Panthers here at linebacker, they already took. They need an edge, I would think, here too. They just need pass rush juice. There's a guy that I think provides a lot of it. He's a little slim, but I think he can. I think Yakus is good, but I'm thinking Romello Height here. Just kind of like a
Okay.
pure
Yeah,
pass rusher for them.
DPR right there for them.
Yeah, yeah, just a pure pass rusher.
All right, Green Bay now, another team making their first pick of the draft here. So they're likely losing Dobbs in free agency, right? You still have Watson, Golden, and Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks. Rasheed Walker's a free agent. Their left tackle, Sean Ryan, their right guard is a free agent. They're losing Quay Walker in free agency. I think you are considering corner too. Bring up corner, linebacker, and tackle, I guess. I mean, Blake Miller, Colton Hood is falling hard. I think Colton Hood is a Packers type of corner, to be honest. He's got size and athleticism. So, yeah, let's go Colton Hood here. Stop the
Cool.
fall for him.
And with Simpson here, this is obviously a wide receiver pick for Pittsburgh. I think the perfect player here alongside DK Metcalf. Something's telling me Skylar Bell is a good pick here. I don't
I like
know.
this fit.
I
I like
like him in Pittsburgh along. I think he's a good receiver for Ty Simpson too. So I'm
Skylar
going.
Bell to me is very similar to Roman Wilson, who I thought was great 2 years ago. And Arthur Smith just never gave him a chance to play. So, maybe with a new scheme coming in, maybe he will get a chance to play. Maybe Skylar Bell will come in and just be the better version of Roman Wilson, actually, that, is that great deep threat Z type of player that's like, makes plays. He can, he isn't purely slot. He also wins downfield, but he can do a lot in the slot as well. So I think that would be a good fit.
Yep.
That's going to bring up the Eagles, who stole Jordan Tyson with their first pick. Dallas Goddard probably gone in free agency was the report. I love Stowers a whole lot. I think this would be a very Eagles pick. I'm not necessarily going to take him yet, but man, that would be a great start to the draft. The question is, do they bring Jalen Phillips back in free agency? If not, edge is very, very likely here too. Corner, maybe. Yeah, bring that up too. I don't know. Akis is not really their scheme. Joshua Josephs might be more so their scheme for edge. I think I'm between Josephs and Stowers here. What do you think? Sell me here.
I mean, I think the obvious pick is let Goddard walk and take Stowers.
You think Stowers? All right, let's go Stowers then. Eagles just going crazy on the offense, which could be good. They needed help on the offense. It wasn't very explosive this year. That's probably the reason they didn't go as far as they could have. So, yeah, let's make that offense as explosive as we can.
All right, so here they need an interior offensive lineman. I think this is a Rutledge type of pick. I like Rutledge. I think he's really good. I'm going to pick Rutledge for the Chargers. That way you get your D lineman, you get your interior offensive lineman there, and you're kind of set for when Slater and Alt come back. I think Rutledge is going to end up being an All-Pro at guard. I really like him.
Wow. It's high
Yeah.
praise. All right,
Yep.
so the Jags are on the clock now, making their first pick of the draft. Question is, is Travis Etienne coming back? I think there's a pretty good chance he is. It seems like the O-line, the O-line was improved last year. Cole Van Lannon was good at left tackle. It seems like they have their receiver room that they want. I think you'd consider tight end. Can you pull up tight end for me? Maybe D tackle. Devin Lloyd, question, is he coming back? Can you bring up linebacker? Monteric Brown and Greg Newsome are both free agents. Travis Hunter is going to be playing more corner this year. Pull up corner as well for me. I think that's kind of your list of players. Man, dude, D'Angelo Pons would be so fun here for them. He's just so small, but
he's so good though.
Let's go with Pons. Let's do it. I think the Jags are sharp.
A good compliment to Hunter, who's kind of like a longer wide receiver.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I don't know. I like Pons a lot. I like that pick. So here with the Bears, we took Emmanuel McNeil-Warren with that first pick. They obviously need a center. I think that's what they do here. I think they're going to go Jake Slaughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 49ers, here's your squad right here. So
I know Boston,
that you typically don't like the way that I pick for them, but obviously you want like a Trent Williams replacement would be great. I know that you haven't liked Colton McKivitz. A lot of 49ers fans.
No, he's good. He's become like the most underrated tackle in the league, probably.
Yeah. No, I agree. He's always been pretty good.
But I'm telling you right now, before you make this pick, they're going to bring Trent back. He has all the leverage. They're going to take his cap hit of $39 million, bring him back, restructure his contract. So like with this pick, I doubt they pick a tackle here.
Yeah,
like I'm not guard or edge.
I'm not necessarily operating as, they need to replace him this year. I'm saying for the future more so. But yeah, they could use some help pass rush wise. Bryce Huff was decent. Bosa's coming back. You got Mike Hill, who will be back eventually this year. D tackle is a major need. I don't see a lot of urgent needs other than that. So dude, I love Darrell Jackson Jr. He's not getting a lot of love right now, but I am a major fan of Darrell Jackson Jr. I'm not going to take him yet here until he gets, steamed up the board a little more. Can you bring up tackle? Because I think Jennings Dunker is probably in consideration here as well. Did we take? Yeah, no, we didn't take Dunker. So Dunker is a guy who could play tackle, so maybe you play him at guard now, and then with the plan of potentially moving outside to tackle once Williams is gone. So yeah, let's go with Dunker here.
I like that.
Great fit, great scheme fit too for Shanahan as a big zone guy.
Dude, look, what do you got to say to this comment, Lucas? Because you're a big Stowers guy.
Yeah, those takes are just so they're so annoying because blocking gets you on the field, but did we not watch all of the shift to 12 personnel this last year where teams are throwing a lot of tight ends, even guys that can't necessarily block that well on the field, just so you have that personnel advantage over the other team that gets them to put bigger personnel out there on defense. And then Stowers is just going to get free routes against big old linebackers, and run wide open. So there's more of a need for tight ends in the league at this point. I do agree that in a very wide receiver 5 for the Eagles, interesting. In a very antiquated offense where he just thrown in there as the main tight end that tries to play inline and block, it's probably not going to go that well, and he's going to get replaced quickly. Like that happened to Kyle Pitts a couple times, kind of part of his career, but eventually I think the talent will just win out, where he gets in the right spot and it's, wheels up.
I'm with you. All right. Who do you pick here?
This is you, right?
Oh, it's me. Oh yeah, because the Niners pick. That's right. All right. Well, they have. I think this is where they go running back. I think Jadarian Price is the pick here, or where's Washington? I like Washington here too.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna take Washington. I think he's the RB2 at this point after that combine, bro. His
That's
tape's
crazy.
nasty too. I like Jadarian Price. I'm just saying where I think Mike Washington might eclipse Jadarian Price as we get to the draft.
I easily think the size and what he did at the combine could cause that. I just think it'd be a colossal mistake by whoever does that, because he was not really very good in college. So, but maybe he gets schemed up well and doesn't have to use his vision or tackle breaking and just gets free runs. Who knows? The Bills took Omar Cooper with their first pick. This is a team that's changing their defensive scheme to a 3-4. Man, I think Landon Jackson is kind of more of a D end now for these guys. Bring me edge, and then let's look at corner. No, I don't think you need to look at corner. Man, the Bills don't have, they're sneaky, not that much in need. Give me interior O-line too. David Edwards is a free agent. Connor McGovern's a free agent. I think Joshua Joseph's here. I think he would be a good scheme fit for the Bills at this point. Smaller edge rusher, DPR type of player. Let's bring him in.
I like that pick. So the Rams here, we got corner, wide receiver already. I think this is where we see Drew Aller to play behind Matthew Stafford.
Ooh, exciting.
I don't think there's any chance Aller falls to round 3, by the way.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So the way the draft is going right now, like, it seems like maybe a lot of QBs are going to go in round 3, actually, or there's going to be trades into the back of the second here for QBs, but I'm not going to do that here, obviously. Broncos here. Who'd we take? We took a
really
D tackle, right?
Chris Bell at 30, and he's here at 60 too, right?
I said earlier, okay, yeah, we got Falk, who's going to play like 3 tech. I said earlier, the Broncos, the rumors are they're happy with their receiver room the way it is. They don't really want to add to it. I think running back and tight end are going to be the focus here at this pick. Can you bring those up for me? I think that Jonah Coleman would be a great compliment to RJ Harvey here, but I don't think Jonah Coleman's going to get taken this high. So I think you're in the Jadarian Price conversation here for sure. Your Max Clare, I think, would be a good idea at this pick. Let's go Jadarian Price. I think they need more help at running back than they do. Or I don't know about that argument, but I think Jadarian Price is just more BPA at this point than Max Clare is. So
I like it. And here we got Caden Proctor. They have a need on the edge. I like Gabe Yakis here. Am I crazy for saying that? He seems like such a
he'd be a Mike Vrabel. He'd be a Mike Vrabel edge rusher.
He's a Mike Vrabel edge, bro. So I'm gonna go Gabe Yakis, and you have to take us home, Lucas. You get the final pick for the Seahawks.
All right. So the Seahawks took TJ Parker with the last pick. Man, I know that you want Jonah Coleman probably because of the low moving costs. Again, they do need a running back, but with Kenneth Walker probably leaving in free agency. But
I think Kenneth Walker's going to be back. They have a shitload of money.
Yeah, I think he could be back too. It's just they didn't tag him. So it's kind of odd to not tag him if you aren't going to extend him. But I don't think that Coleman's going to go this high, so I just can't take a running back here. You're losing potentially Josh Jobe and Tariq Woolen in free agency. I think you're considering a corner here. Can you pull up corner? I think Abney is definitely in the cards here. I just want to see if there's anybody who I think is going to go higher here. If you scroll
Everett's
down a tiny bit,
going to go pretty high too after the combine.
I think I'm just going to go Abney here.
You know who's they're absolutely going to take if they lose Reek Woolen is Takario Davis.
Oh yeah, I could see him late. I could see him in round 4.
You're going to go Abney?
Yeah, let's go Abney.
Dude, I love Keith Abney. I think he's going to be a stud. All right, that's the pick, y'all. That's the mock. Here's the first round of it. I don't think it'll show us the second round, but you got Mendoza, Reese, Mauanoa, Sonny Styles, Jeremiah Love, Monroe Freeling, which was a shock pick, but I agree. I think he's going to rise to the top 10. Caleb Downs, David Bailey, Ruben Bain, Mansour Lane, Jermod McCoy, Dylan Dynaman, Makai Lemon. The Rams, which I would hate as a Niners fan. Spencer Fano, Kenyon Sadiq, Carnell Tate, Avion Terrell, great takeaway guy there for the Lions. Caleb Banks, CJ Allen, Cassius Howe, some pass rush juice for the Cowboys. Ty Simpson goes there to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Peter Woods, Jordan Tyson falls to the Eagles, which I would hate. Mesidor to the Browns. Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Omar Cooper goes a pick before the Niners, but they still get Denzel Boston, which either way they're good with that pick. That's an A+ pick. Vega Ione there at guard to the Texans. Perfect fit. Rams get a corner with their second first-round pick. Keldrick Falk at 30, 31. Caden Proctor, 32. TJ Parker. I like that. I like that mock. That's a good mock, man. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you got to get out of here, but thank you for hopping on, Lucas. This has been
man. Thanks for having me. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a great time, dude. We're going to do a 3-round one. I'm down next week if you're down. Or we can do a full 7.
To do that. 7 would be pretty crazy. That would be like a
we'll do a 7 in
5-hour thing.
We'll do a 7 right before the draft. We should do a 7.
If I have a free day to do that, yeah, I'd be down. That'd be cool.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on, dude. How's the weather in Dallas right now?
It's great, beautiful. Low mid 80s. It's been awesome. It's supposed to start storming though, like all week now, starting tomorrow. So the good weather is coming to an end.
You're the man. He said W mock. Nick's a ball knower.
W's
He's a ball knower. Yes, sir. All right, dude.